Toad TV. I'm Mary Beth.
I'm Helen. You got a thing going with your hair there.
I was going to say, it is a dry, cold day here because I just have static. I just did this with it. It made it so much worse. Anyway, welcome to Toad TV. I am Mary Beth.
I am Helen.
We are the creative hands and minds behind Toad Hollow. And it is Friday, January 19th. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, all day.
Another snow day.
I saw that Montclair closed down the
Grab my
schools,
thing.
no matter what. You know, before it even started snowing,
Did they really?
Montclair had closed the schools.
Well, that was a bit of an overreaction.
I know. Well, it's supposed to snow pretty much throughout the day, and right now it's snowing, but it's kind of like flurries. You know, soft white flakes falling down. It's really actually the perfect day to sit wrapped up in a blanket, working on a craft or reading a good book or something like that with a cup of hot tea next to you because it's beautiful. It's really, really pretty with it going in the background and that sort of thing. Until you realize that you have to shovel, and then it just isn't quite so pretty anymore.
But it's not even sticking, and it's just, they could have gotten a half day out of it.
Well, look, maybe they have it worked in. Who knows? I don't know. Yes, snow day. Oh, are you working from home, April? Do you get to work from home or get to be at home? I saw that somebody was working from home, so. Why is it so far down?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the comments.
Right. Oh, Jess says they've warmed up to +5.
Okay. We're going down to like -2 overnight.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. It's going to be very cold tomorrow and Sunday, but then we're heading up into the like mid-30s, 40s, which I'm really fine with, honestly. I saw that Marianne said that her
Her boss gave her a snow day.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
April says she's off totally. She can't work from home. So I do know that April, you're more in the bad area for the worst, to get hit with the worst, and then they declared a state of emergency.
Yeah.
Carla says happy Friday. The rest of her house has a snow day, but she works remotely, so she doesn't get snow days anymore.
That's no fun.
And Jess says we typically get what they have about 2 days later. So
Yeah.
7 degrees in Wisconsin.
That's just way too cold. Michigan is saying it's cold and windy. Oh my gosh. I know, Marcia. Marcia says that working from home is the best thing ever. I agree with you. Oh, what does sister number 3 say?
She says she went in for one patient and got home by 9:30, so she is home now.
Oh, nice.
And they're getting hit right now.
Yeah, Amanda, it's coming
Mike
from the
home?
west.
Hopefully
So
Mike's home too.
yeah. It's moving from west to east. They were telling us.
You are just like all hunched up.
I'm
Like,
freezing cold. I'm so cold. It was a rough night, and I just took a nap for like half an hour, so I've been completely wrapped up in a blanket, asleep for a little bit. And I woke up, and you know when you wake up and it's just your body temperature has gone down because you were asleep, and you were wrapped up in your blanket? I may bring my blanket in with me. Kimberly, 76 yesterday in Texas, 42 today, dropping over 30 degrees.
That's a huge drop.
That's big.
Especially for Texas.
Yeah.
Marianne says Sky, her dog, is picking up ice pieces and then burying them in the snow. Hugo picks them up and throws them around and then he eats them.
I know, he's crazy.
Yeah.
He is.
And Christina says that the flurries are starting in Connecticut.
Okay. All right.
I was saying something earlier today, like the snow's really going to have to kind of pick up if it's going to start sticking. And it did for a bit. It looked like it was almost like blizzardy out there, but now it's...
I think now it may just be very fine snow, not the big fat ones.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's sticking to the surfaces yet.
Yeah.
So, it's a heat wave. I don't know where. Earlier today when she had to try and shovel snow at -5 degrees Celsius with a wind chill of -24. I'm going with Canada, probably. Had to make sure the sidewalks were cleared for the school kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Is it NF?
it's heat wave, and I think that's RN is right now OF.
Okay.
Maybe it's Oregon?
Okay. Anyway,
April said it only started sticking by her in the last half hour, and she's about an hour or two south of us, so.
okay. I know that Montclair put out something that if you don't shovel your sidewalks, they're going to start citing you because people have been slipping. So they're going to start issuing citations if you don't shovel them.
I will say that it is kind of treacherous.
You have 12 hours and 12 daylight hours.
Oh, okay.
So
The negative 24 is Iowa.
nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Well, on
Yeah,
that
I'm ready
note,
to just give up on tomorrow because it's supposed to be like negative 1 degrees real feel, so.
I have a finished object. Look, I finished my mittens just in time to go shoveling. These are done in Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstance, which was our favorite book from December. So they are finished and I adore them. It's the 3-stitch waffle pattern. I'm not sure who it's by, but it's a free pattern on Ravelry.
I can go grab the pattern.
And it's fantastic. They just knit up so fast. They're it's a fun knit because it's like knit 2, purl 1. That's the pattern. And every now and then you throw in a couple of knit rows and it just gives it the bumpy pattern, but it's really
knitting
easy.
them 2 at a time, they really go fast.
I know, that's what I did. I did them 2 at a time. So they went super, super fast. And okay, so Crafts for Others says that she hasn't gotten brave enough to try mittens yet, but they're on her list. Okay, so this is really, really easy because you knit in the round. You start at the cuff and you knit in the round, and when you get to the thumb, it tells you to go a certain amount, and then you put the stitches on waist yarn and just keep going around up the knitting until you get to the top and bind off, and then you come pick up the thumb, pick up 3 extra stitches to close up the hole, and then go around, and seriously, such a piece of cake. Really, really easy. Especially when you do it properly. This time, like, not doing it the wrong way I did it the last time I made a pair of mitts and wound up with a heel for my hand, which was, that's a couple episodes ago. These are a piece of cake. They're so fast and easy, and I love them. And I love having mittens, enough mittens that you can just stick them in the pocket of your coat and they're always there when you need them. So, okay.
All right, Carla says that YouTube has a channel called Girl with the Dogs 2 about a pet groomer. One of her latest videos, she groomed a Great Pyrenees, and it made her wonder if Hugo has ever gotten that dirty.
Okay.
Hugo has gotten very, very dirty, but he dries and it just shakes right off.
It's remarkable.
I mean, knock on wood, the dog has never had a bath because he stays clean, except Sunday he came down the shore with me to shore up the house, and he rolled in something that was poop. He stank, and I had
smelly dog.
To rub him down and try and wash it out of him, but he didn't get a full-on bath.
No, you just did it with a couple little bits of spot cleaning.
Yeah.
Wet paper towel with some Dawn dish detergent on it.
Yeah, and then I brushed him the next day.
Yeah.
He was fine.
So it's
he's
amazing.
got magic fur.
We've always talked about how he has magic
Yeah.
fur because he would go to the dog park and run around and roll in mud puddles and stuff. And then by the time he got home, it would be dry and he'd lay down and then get up and there would be a pile of dirt there.
Right. But Hugo would be clean.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So Girl with Dogs.
Girl with dogs too.
Okay.
Laura says, please tell me what all the acronyms are. Example, WHIP is work in progress. UFO, unfinished objects. What are the others you mentioned?
Okay, FO is a finished object. Finished object. And HFO is a half finished object. Like if I only had one mitt, it would be an HFO. And then FFO is a fully finished object, and that would be like with cross stitch, you finish stitching and then you take it and get it framed or that sort of thing.
Right.
That's a fully finished object. If you finish cross stitching but it's still just the piece of fabric with the stitching and you haven't done anything with it, then it's an FO because you're finished. But a fully finished object or an FFO is completely done. I can't think of anything else.
I think that's it. If there's something else that you're wondering, put it in the
When we
comments.
talk about frogging things, it's taking things out, which actually Helen's going to talk about in a bit, because you're ripping it back, and when you say it, it's like ribbit, rip it, rip it. It kind of sounds like a frog. Also, you might hear us say tinking back, and that is if you've made a mistake like several stitches back, you take the stitches out. So you're taking it out going backwards. So tink is knit backwards. So tinking back means you're just taking out a couple of stitches and fixing the mistake and then going forward.
Okay, Jess says she feels like there's an imminent crap-avalanche about to happen in her house. She can hear boxes and bags of yarn moving.
Oh dear.
They appear to be either settling into their new home or planning an escape.
Oh my goodness.
Jane says it's 5 degrees, feels like negative 21 in southeastern Iowa.
Nope.
On the Missouri, Iowa, Illinois state lines.
Ugh.
Yolanda's here to put us all in our place.
Okay.
Great news. It's only negative 23 there this morning. She is in Canada. It's absolutely balmy, she says.
Ugh.
Regina says hello. Debbie says, I love Girl with Dogs channel. I love watching her and the dogs get groomed. Okay. We'll have to give her a look.
Yeah. You know how we feel about dogs. So there is that.
And Laura says, yes, those were the ones that she was asking about. So,
Okay.
and the Vixen says, hello, everyone. Hello, darling ladies from cold Oklahoma.
Okay.
Also, somebody earlier had said that it was snowing again in Knoxville, and their schools have just been closed all week.
Okay. I did see Jared Padalecki from Supernatural lives in Texas, and his wife was putting up pictures of how they deal with, the cold weather that I think is like 30 degrees in Texas. And their kids are all bundled up eating breakfast in their puffy coats and their hats because they haven't even gone outside yet. It's just, they're all bundled up to eat breakfast in the morning. So it was kind of funny watching that, but
I think they would die. I mean, we came downstairs this morning and what was it?
65.
Oh no, yesterday it was 61.
Yesterday was 61. Yeah, 61 is chilly.
Yeah.
So we have heaters spread out that are blowing hot air to help warm up the castle.
Yeah, the first floor of the castle does not have great insulation.
The second floor is nice and warm though.
Yeah. Carol says, yay, she caught a live. Jess says, oh, my Yolanda. And the Kindles, they closed her schools on Tuesday because it was negative 20 in Illinois, but it's typical this time of year here. Yolanda packed up 2 boxes of craft supplies this morning for the thrift store. She's de-stashing, taking a craft break for January. Oh, okay. Kimberly says both Jared and Jensen live very close to her.
That's
And
Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles, both from Supernatural.
And Zachary Levi, who is Chuck.
Yeah. Do you run into them? Are you friends? That would be cool. Okay. Shall we?
Oh, the Vixen wants to know, maybe too personal, will we ever return to the beach house?
We don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, we're here. Okay.
Jess says her school her daughter teaches at is closed because the staff and students are all sick.
Oh, that happens. When
Because COVID is running rampant right now.
I know, but also when you're teaching and the temperature goes up and down and up and down, one person gets sick and then they spread it throughout the entire class, so that's just okay. All right. Shall we start showing some work?
Sure.
Okay. So today we're going to be talking about what you do when you make mistakes. It's just, what happens when you make a mistake on a project, or, do you, okay, words are hard. So when you start making mistakes, do you start over again? Carol says she puts them in hibernation for a long, long time. Do you take it out and say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore? Do you take it out immediately and fix it? So I have an example. I got the cross stitch pattern that I was going to do for January is the Winter by Cross-Eyed Cricket. And I got a piece of fabric that I made sure was going to fit it lengthwise and height-wise. But it's much longer than it is high. And I sat down and started cross stitching, and I was going along and I was working on the snowman in the middle. You can see him there. It looks very blurry. Is it showing up clearer?
Yeah, I think it's good.
No, oh, it's not showing up on yours yet. Okay. Anyway.
Also, the camera's over here today, so.
Oh, okay. I'm all confused now. However, I did it, and I got almost the entire snowman done and realized that I had done it the height way. Instead of doing it like this, I had put him like this. And there's no way it's going to fit going across the shorter side. So I had to take him out and start over again. So this is where I am right now after having taken him out. And can I tell you, there are a lot of stitches in that snowman. So I had to take him, I spent one day putting him in and the next day taking him out. But then I started over again. He's not done yet because I ran out of the white thread. I have to go get myself some more. But you can see how there's a little bit that goes down like that. He's going to come down here like that. So I had to take it out and start over again because there was no way I could make this work. There are a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I'll make it work. This time, not so much. Okay, so I know that a bunch of people have been putting in what they do.
Yes. Let's see. Gotta go back. Okay. Back to Zachary and Jensen Ackles. Kimberly has met them. Zachary is super sweet. Jensen is very funny and hot.
Yes, he is.
I will give you. I will agree on all points. Carol says she puts them in hibernation for a very long time. Liz throws it in a corner. April refuses to frog.
Do you mind if I turn this down?
No. Marcia says she curses and frogs. Carol said her Advent socks this year, she messed up the heels and wore them twice and just could not. So she tinked them back to the foot, and she's doing them right now. She was kind of proud of herself for fixing them. I do get that way sometimes where I'm just like patting myself on the back for actually doing what I should have done in the first place.
But I mean, tinking it back to the beginning of the heel, that's a lot of tinking.
Yeah, but if you wear the, and you've already worn them, so you have to,
yeah,
you're actually like undoing things.
Yeah, no, that's, if you love them though, and you want them to wear them, you have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jess says she's mellowed with age. She leaves it, rips it, or MacGyvers it now.
Okay.
There's been a few times where she's chopped it up with scissors. I'm doing it right now. And put it in the wood stove in her younger days.
Okay. I can understand MacGyvering it because with knitting especially, I will try and do anything to make it work so that I'm like, I can work with that.
Yeah, I don't have to take it out.
Right.
Ruth Ann says she made the same mistake with cross stitch last weekend, and she's glad she's not alone. Awkward and Crafty says if the brain is braining, she will fix it. If not, it will either live in purgatory until the brain happens, or it gets frogged.
Okay.
Janine says she waits until it's late at night and fixes the problem. She means 1 or 2 in the morning and no one is around, so no sounds.
Yeah, and also nobody can hear you cursing.
Nobody's gonna get in your way and just annoy you.
Yeah.
Debbie says she puts it back in the project bag and hope it magically fixes it.
Do you know what I found? The elves that come and fix the projects don't know my address, no matter how many times I give it out to them, because it's just
Kimberly likes to try and leave it and before she decides what she's gonna do with it. Jane cusses a lot and then time out and goes again later. Just as for cross stitch or embroidery, she uses fabric markers to color the stitch the right color.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
And Kimberly wants to know for Janine, do you get tired that late? She starts rubbing her eyes and cursing that she's up so late.
Well, if you have something that you have to get up for, I mean, if you have it so that you've got a schedule where you can stay up really late and then not have to say be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, it works a lot better. If you have kids that are reliant upon you or a job that you've got to be at, like present at, it gets hard. It gets very hard.
Jill says it depends on the mistake. She just drop stitches back 20 or more rows to fix a twisted stitch. Other times it just becomes a design element.
I have a lot of things in sweaters or shawls where it's just, it's handmade.
Yeah.
It shows that it was made by a person, so.
Yolanda says when she's crocheting, mistakes can easily be hidden.
Yes.
Kim says as a new knitter, she usually starts over. Crochet and cross stitch are different, and she has done those for decades.
Okay. All right.
Janine can't sleep when she has a mistake.
Oh, it
I'm
never
sorry.
bothers me that much.
That's an affliction.
Yeah, it never bothers me to the point of stopping me from sleeping. Very little stops me from sleeping. So that has never been an issue. But I do sometimes wake up really early in the morning and start thinking about it and then make sure that I fix it that day.
And that's usually when the fix comes to you.
Right.
It's like, oh, duh, why didn't you think of that yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah. I see that April wants to know if anybody has a huge mistake that they cannot get over. Do you want to talk about what you're doing, since that is kind of...
Well, okay, this isn't so much a mistake as I don't like the sweater.
a change. Well, I mean, it's a mistake in that you chose the sweater.
Right.
So
I am taking out the autumn pullover that I started in the autumn with our Witch's Library collection. And I just don't enjoy knitting it. I don't like the pattern. It's been sitting in a bag for 4 months probably.
right.
So, and I've come to the realization that I am not going back to it. So I am pulling it out so that I can repurpose the yarn in a better way.
Okay.
But I had bound off the neck stitches because it's knit flat, which I should have read the thing and realized that I was never going to want
To sew it together.
to sew it together
Okay.
and make it. And I find that they don't fit as well when they're knit flat.
Okay.
They're kind of boxier than I want them to be.
Right.
So I should have just stopped as soon as I realized that. But anyway, so I had bound off the neck stitches, but the shoulder stitches were still alive, so I had to cut the bind off.
Okay.
So that's what I was cutting.
Okay.
But as far as a big mistake that I'll never get over from my crafting in the past, I know there was a sweater where my sleeves were practically down.
Oh, that was your red one.
My red sweater where
But it wasn't both of them. It was only one. It
it
was like one was a little bit long and the other one was like
a normal length.
but no, one was a little bit longer and then the other one was really long.
That sweater was it was made out of cotton yarn
From like Michaels or something like that.
like, Lilies and Cream or whatever it's called. Um, a gazillion different dye lots.
Right. Because we had no idea.
And not only, I mean, the sleeves were just weird. And that was me, not the pattern. It was so heavy.
It
Oh
was.
my God, that's what it was. So
It was. It was really heavy. I made a pair of socks for my brother that I have no idea what I was thinking. And it should have ended here with his foot, and the sock actually went out to like here. So I had to take it back. I did. I took it back and I tanked it back and then got it to the right size because it was a present for somebody. But I have a couple of pairs of socks that were like the first pair of socks that I made that are not the best and now have huge holes in the heel, and I am not even going to bother to try and fix those. They have served their purpose and they are moving on to their next part in life, which probably will be, since they have a solid toe, I will put some dog food in it, tie a knot in it, and give it to Hugo, and he can throw it around the yard for a while and then play with it. So
my first pair of socks, one foot barely fit me and the other one was like 3 inches too short, but I decided it was okay.
I do know that like I can tell which socks were made earlier in my career because they are a little tight, and the ones that I'm making now fit me much better because I now know how to measure my foot for a pair of socks. So
okay, so Jess says that the duplicate stitch is her friend for color work and mistake it and knitting. Done is better than perfect for her. I'm working my way to that. Liz says she's in a knitting group, but she cannot fix it. She takes it to the group and asks for help. She has some amazing folk in the group.
That's a really good resource to have. Yeah.
Jess says, as far as the done is better than perfect, it's from a person who's ripped out complete sweaters. Why do we think it's going to get better when we get that sinking feeling that it's not right for us?
Do you know I have a sweater that it's the Novelli? Is that what it is? That I was doing in The Princess Bride?
I think so, yeah.
It's got color work, and I got the color work part done, and I'm doing it, the body is in rodents of unusual size, and I have 2 different color dye lots, and I said it's on the back, I'm not going to care, that kind of thing. But I noticed that I have not picked up that sweater to fix it or do anything with it, and I think in the back of my mind it really is bothering me, so that I am going to rip that one back out again and start over on something else, because that's I wouldn't think so, but
yeah,
obviously it's bothering me,
you,
so
yeah.
I'm going to take it out and start something new.
Marianne says when she first started embroidery, she often stitched the project to her shirt.
Yeah, I could see that.
I frequently, when I'm cross stitching, since I stitch in hand, find I'll catch myself knitting stitching the corner.
Yeah.
Or catching the corner or something.
I have like here on this piece of fabric, this is a cross stitch that I'm working on, and I have put my extra thread up here because I just tucked it up here, just put it through a couple of stitches, and when I need it again, because I'm using it over and over again, I can just pull it off rather than going to my block to find it, that kind of thing. But I find myself stitching it into the stitches, because it's long enough that I find myself stitching it in.
I had that problem when I was doing my Haid when I was parking.
Mm-hmm.
I would frequently catch the parked threads, and I'm just like, no, this is just too frustrating.
It is very frustrating.
Carla says that the Yarn Harlot just posted on Instagram about how she somehow kept knitting on a sweater that would fit a 56-inch bust that she most certainly does not have.
Okay.
Jess says she's put wool fabric patches on the heels of her socks that wear out. It's like elbow patches on her sweater, but on her heels. That's kind of cool.
We have wool felt.
Yeah.
Why am I knitting little patches for things when I can just put wool felt on. That's brilliant. I even have sewing machines that I could do it on. Yes, okay.
Penny, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Penny says she's so excited she finally made it live. Happy Friday from Western Nova Scotia. I'll bet you're cold.
Yes.
Kim says Mary, she's done that quilting. I think that's to Marianne Stoner. And Yolanda says she crocheted her first hat for a giant. She looked like a hockey helmet. Good thing she lives in Canada.
I have a sweater that I made. It was my first one by Baby Cocktails that was a vest, a pullover vest, that might fit my nephew Braden, who's 13.
And Slate.
I wore it once, and it was very much a Gus thing, and I didn't care enough about it, so I think it's in the drawer.
And it was like out of Cascade, right?
Yeah, I think it's in the drawer down at the beach or something like that. So it kind of has been tucked away and, not completely forgotten, but not in regular rotation at all, because it's kind of silly.
Well, I have the one I knit. I forget what it's called, but where it came to like here, and I had to take it out and put a couple inches on.
Oh, well, I had to do that with my my Casapinka one that I did. I did out of
the shaved ice.
Yeah, the shaved ice. I had to do that with the shaved ice, where I was sure it was going to work, and now I had to take off the ribbing and stuff. It just, it became a mess. However, I loved that one enough that I took out not only the ribbing but the first section of color, because I couldn't get. It was yarn overs and knit two togethers, and I could not pick it up properly. So I took it back to the next section and redid that going down, because the colors were our Enchanted Forest, and they're so beautiful that I really wanted to finish that one. And I do love that.
Yeah, that's a good sweater.
Yeah. So.
Jess says, as far as using the wool felt, it works great because stitching on the fabric stops the knitting from unraveling any further. And life is too short to reknit socks unless it's enjoyable to you.
I think that's true. I do. The problem is I love my socks. I absolutely love my socks. So I just need to get better at catching the holes before they get bigger than the little block that comes with the darning kit.
Linda says her first sock would have fit Bigfoot. And Awkward and Crafty says her first crochet hat would have fit nicely over a bike helmet.
Okay. It's just one of those things, know.
But it's all learning.
I know, that's the thing. Every time you do this, you make these mistakes. For the most part, I learn from them and go on. You hope. There are times where I make the same mistake several times, but sooner or later I will learn. Okay.
My mistake is always that it'll fix itself.
It never fixes itself. It never, ever fixes itself. And the elves, as I said, do not know our address. So, all right.
Or the lazy ass elves.
Right.
Marcia says it's oddly reassuring to know that everyone makes mistakes, even the toads. Oh, we make our...
Oh, so many.
I make more mistakes than I do things right.
So many. I just finished taking out an ear warmer because it just was going all wrong. And I took it out. Luckily, I hadn't gotten very far. I took it out, and I'm going to start over again in a solid color because I do not like the way the colors were knitting up in that short little period. It's only like 18 stitches across, so I didn't like the way it was knitting up in 18 stitches. So I have taken that out, and I will start something new with that yarn and pick up a more solid color for my ear warmer.
Yeah. Jess says she loves her socks too, but she doesn't mind the fabric patch compared to reknitting. She hasn't worn through any of the fabric heels yet.
Okay, all right.
Yolanda says some mistakes are happy accidents, and some are. I mean, if I make a mistake, I made one yesterday in the sweater I'm doing, and I was able to fix it.
Okay.
Okay. I was able in the next row to knit 2 stitches together and make it go away.
Oh, I do that all the time where you're
and-
counting all of a sudden you have like 4 extra stitches.
Right.
And I just, knit 2 together a couple of times across the row and it's okay.
And I mean, it's handmade.
Yeah.
And I'm not submitting any of my work in for inspection. Carla says, LOL, that stuff will block right out.
Yeah.
Sometimes doesn't work out that way.
Sometimes no, right?
That I'll do. And I have never found that superwash stretches nearly as much as some people say it does. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen on podcasts and Instagram and that kind of thing that it's a little short, but it's okay. It's superwash. It's going to stretch right out. And I've gone with that theory, and it doesn't work.
Either that or the stretching right out is more than the yarn can handle for what is needed.
Marianne says she can also totally knit lace and cabled sweater and then mess up on the ribbing, I guess.
She has something sock ribbing.
I did.
She comes back here.
Oh, on sock, she mixed up on sock ribbing. Okay. Regina says. Okay, I gotta go.
Oh, no. You
Okay.
keep going.
That sorry, I lost my place.
We're podcasting. Okay.
Regina learned to knit years ago, and she only made scarves. She was too scared to try anything else. I understand that. But this helps her see that everyone makes mistakes, but mistakes is part of learning. Carol says that stitch counts are totally flexible. Yes, except when it comes to like lace patterns and that kind of thing. But I always try and make sure that I, make sure all my mistakes all my stitches are either decreased or increased in time for the lace section. Jess says they have a mitten and hat basket, but mismatched socks go in there too because often the kids don't care. They just want warm. I'm the same way. I have absolutely no problem wearing mismatched socks. So if I wear a hole into one of my socks, I'll just have a single sock and wear it with another single sock. So sorry for the interruption. Our mom just came down. We have to set her up. Lynn has caught us live from Calgary. And then let's see. Jeff says, "Do we recognize using a lifeline and going back and fixing mistakes?" It depends on if it's a particularly intricate pattern, especially color work, or I'm working with brioche right now. A lifeline is key because brioche is very hard to take out. It's very hard to tink back properly, and color work also is the same, and lace work as well, especially when you're doing yarn overs and that kind of thing. A lifeline is good. I think I've used a lifeline once in my life. I should learn from my own mistakes. And Jess says when she's swatching in the round, she makes a swatch into a single sock when the leg gets long. Those end up in the mitten basket too. The grands love it, and they take whatever. Kim wants to know, what is a lifeline? A lifeline is something that it's usually waste yarn or something that you would knit into the a certain area of your knitting, so that if you have to take it back, it's grabbing stitches in a certain area, so that it's you can take it back and the waste yarn has the stitches for you, so that you can just rip back with abandon, knowing that the stitches will be caught at a certain point. She okay?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So,
All right.
I think we're good.
All right. All right. I'm going to show you my next bit of cross stitch because I started 2 different cross stitches for the month of January. We picked these on our WIPCO, which for those of you that aren't part of it, it's kind of like a bingo board, but it's different works in progress. And Helen and I are doing ours completely with our cross stitch. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my needle back in so I don't lose it. But this is There's No Planet B by Clouds Factory, and I have gotten the middle tree pretty much done, and then I've gotten a okapi next to it. Helen's going to put in a picture. No, she can't. You can't, because this isn't that kind of podcast.
We're live, Meredith.
We're live. So here, I will show you a picture of what it is. My goodness.
Marcia says she is now totally addicted to cross stitch, that we worked our wiles on her. There's something so comforting about just sitting and slow stitching.
Yeah. Okay. That out, and then...
Also, I get really wrapped up in the fact that with little changes in shades of color and that kind of thing with X's, I have just created this picture.
All right, so here it is. Okay. That's Clouds Factory, and it's called There Is No Planet B. So I have just finished working on the tree that's right there and the little deer-like creature next to it. So this is going to be an ongoing project. There's no way I'm getting this done in the month of January, but that's where I am so far.
What made you decide to start there?
It's in the middle.
Is it right in the middle?
It is right in the middle.
It looks like...
It does.
I guess with the
lettering.
The lettering.
Yeah, because he looks like he's way too far up, but
Yeah.
with the lettering, it puts him closer to the middle. Either that or I totally screwed it up and I'm taking that baby out too. But no, I'm pretty sure it's smack dab in the middle.
Sometimes they put it.
They do.
Yeah, no, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the middle. So that's where I started.
Debbie says to her, cross stitch is similar to quilting. Lots of tiny pieces come together to make a bigger thing. That's, yeah.
I saw, I think it was, it may be Jaybird Quilts. Somebody was putting together, she just would sit and stitch together 2 diamonds. She does English paper piecing, and she would stitch together 2 diamonds. And she had this great big bowl full of 2 diamonds that she put together. And then she started slowly stitching those 2 diamond pieces into 6 diamond pieces, putting together, and all of a sudden she's got a bigger diamond. And
well, that's really cool.
She took, because it's completely using scraps, and all her scraps are very similar in tonality and lots of different colors, but the tonality is all the same, so that it's all going to go together well. And it's not like you're doing a bunch of pastels and then there's a bright neon purple in there that just stands out. It's all basically the same, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. But she just, takes her scraps and stitches them, and then when she's ready, she starts stitching them together and making bigger X's, and before you know it, she's got enough to, you take 3 diamonds, not X's, 3 bigger diamonds, and then you take those 3 diamonds and you put them together, and all of a sudden you've got a hexagon, and you're well on your way to a quilt.
Yeah, and I love the scrappy, because I love scrappy quilts.
Well, and she does it with the fabric that you like so much.
The Heather Ross?
The Heather Rosses, and that kind of thing, where they're a lot of them are from the same designer, so that that they're really going to be beautiful together.
And Heather Ross is very good for fussy cutting.
Yeah.
Yolanda says Santa brought her some cross-stitch kits for Christmas, and he paid. She picked them out.
Oh. That's cool. Now you have things to look forward to starting.
So I am working on my entomology. And I have my first bug done.
He's so cool.
And then obviously the ENT. So I'm working on the letters right now. I love cross-stitching letters.
So do I.
They go so fast. The only changes I have made as far as the pattern is concerned is the calls for the letters and the borders to be white, but I didn't like the way the white looked on this oatmeal fabric. So I went with the dark purple, and I really love it.
I think it looks beautiful.
It
I
really
think it
pops.
makes the bugs, the bug that you have done,
Right.
stand out beautifully.
Yeah. And the bugs are like jewel tone, so the purple goes well with them.
Yeah.
So that's one.
I saw that Marianne said that Sky is barking back to Hugo.
They're having a whole conversation with each other.
That we don't know nothing about.
And Jess says she loves bug art. I do too, for some reason. I don't love bugs, but
I know. I saw somebody doing something with a stamp that made me think of that because it's a beetle stamp, but then they stamp it in black and clean that off, and then they painted like gold paint on it, and they were going to stamp that over it. You've got to be very careful how you place it.
Yeah.
But then it gets almost a gilted look on top of the black, and it was really, really
that's really
pretty.
cool.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
And then she was coloring in jewel tones the carapace of the bug. So it was really, really pretty.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Anne says when she cross stitches, she lays out the fabric and writes top at the top so she doesn't hiccup. It's a good plan.
That's a very smart plan. I must do that sometime. A lot of time I work on squares. Almost, I work on squares a lot.
Very obvious rectangles.
Yeah.
So that,
well, no, this is an obvious rectangle.
Okay.
The one that I was doing,
Right, never
that's
mind.
an obvious rectangle. It's just, but if you work on squares, then it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because you've got plenty of things to. It doesn't matter which way it's going as long as you don't have points sticking up, corners. Okay.
Okay, and my other whip go is wintertime. And that,
Oh, is this from Croquette a Go-Go?
yeah, I have gotten
Okay.
the first border done, and then this is a vase of flowers. So the vase is done, and then I'm gonna start doing the flowers coming out of the vase. So that my goal was kind of to get this corner done in January, which I'm well on my way for.
Okay, so here is. That is what that. Hold on, I'm gonna hold this up so you can see it without the glare. Okay, that's what that is going to look like. So you're up here in the top left.
Yep.
Okay, over the bear. And that's where she is. Have you gotten any work done on your hate this month?
Like maybe 20 or 30 stitches. I have to make time for it. But I'm about 3% in on it. So
Okay. Have you taken your 1% pictures?
I took
1%, 2%?
I took a 1% picture, and I think I deleted it when I was having problems saving things to my phone.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to go with 5% pictures.
Okay. All right. Well, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Jess said she thinks she loves the color and shine on bugs and bug art. Because she also likes the artwork that is birds, fish, and frogs. And Yolanda says our cross-stitch projects are fantastic. She has some really fun bug paper.
Oh, here, I have my...
Tim Holtz has a whole line. I don't know whether it's still available, but there was fabric, that we love that fabric, the entomology fabric.
Yeah.
And then it came from paper, so...
Rifle Paper has a line that I got this for Helen for her birthday, and then I had my mother get it for me for Christmas because I just love this so
The
much.
colors in that are just gorgeous.
And there was a pen and a pad as well.
Yeah.
And there might have been
There was
a bag.
You got me the tea towel too. That was the flowers part of it.
Right. It's gorgeous. I adore this. So I use it. I have my pens and washi tape that I'm using for my journaling that I keep in it.
Jess says every time we show our cross stitch, she wants to stop what she's doing and work on some too. It happens to me every time when we podcast and we show our cross stitch.
I know.
I'm just gonna cross stitch all afternoon.
I know. Well, that's the thing. I think, oh, I'm going to spend the afternoon cross stitching. This is part of my job. I needed to show content for the podcast, and the podcast is part of the job, so that I should be able to take the afternoon and cross stitch. And then I sit down and get myself comfortable and fall asleep. And by the time I wake up, it's too dark and it doesn't work anymore. So I just have to, really find some time to work on it because I do enjoy it. We put our earbuds in and listen to our books, and I happen to be listening to the 10,000 Doors of January, which is a phenomenal book. So I would just look forward to going back into it whenever I can.
Trying to think what I'm listening to. What am I? Oh, I'm listening to The Enchanted Hacienda.
Oh, okay.
April says the bug jar has really good crochet tapestry blanket bug and other animal patterns.
Okay.
All right. The bug jar.
The
I have to
bug
go
jar.
look that up. Is that where you got your stick bug from, April? Because you made that great blanket with the stick bug. Jess says she has a daybed in the dormer in her room, and the light is fabulous. She should go sit there and cross stitch. You should.
Yes.
You have our permission.
Yes, go do it.
Not only our permission, we are demanding it.
It's if you have a place that's got really, really good light, that's fantastic.
Marianne wants to know if we read Spectacular by Fiona Davis. No, we have not, and we have a couple of hers in our TBR.
What? Who is Fiona Davis? I'm trying to remember.
There's one on the kitchen table, and then we have another one.
There's one on the kitchen table.
Yeah, she's by her seat.
Oh, the Spectacular.
Is that what I said?
No, is that what Marianne said?
Yeah.
That wasn't the one. I was thinking of getting that for you for Knitfent.
Something about Fifth Avenue, I think.
Oh, okay.
Lions of Fifth Avenue, and we have the Magnolia Palace.
Oh, okay. All right.
We just haven't read any of hers.
Right. That's it. Okay. No, I was thinking of getting you the Spectacular because that looked really, really good. Really good. And I think as somebody did compare it to the 10,000 Doors of January as kind of like,
oh, okay.
If you like this, you might like this. So, all right.
We're getting hay from Wendy, North Carolina. Just as we've also gotten her back into listening to audiobooks. She listens to mysteries all afternoon while working. I was just reading, Barnes & Noble sent their new and notable on Tuesday. And one of them, I just finished putting it in my wish list. But it sounds like a great thriller with unreliable narrator. And I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect for Audible.
Okay.
Because I love listening to thrillers listening to them as opposed to reading them.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy doing that a lot. There are several of them that when I listen to them or think back on them, I can see myself standing in the backyard of the house that we were in 2 years ago with Hugo as he was learning to, not use the bathroom in the house. There would be times where we took him out.
We thought he was learning.
Yeah. But anyway, it was one of those things. It's your turn. Okay, put in your book. Go stand outside with Hugo and play with him in the backyard and get him used to peeing outside.
Norma says she's read several Fiona Davis books and have Spectacular on her wish list. And Marianne says she thinks our mom would like it too because it's a mystery revolving around the beginning of the Rockettes.
Oh, cool.
That's kind of cool.
That's very cool. All right.
We'll have to put it on. I should make a note.
Oh, Kim says she's just starting Iron Flame. We have,
which means you've read the Fourth Wing.
Fourth Wing, yeah. That's on our list to read. We haven't hit it yet though. So I have a list in my reading journal of books that we have on hand here that are either. I don't have Audible in here because I think, as Helen said, Audible is separate. But these are the books that are on my physical TBR. So I have my cover sheet that is Read Your Shelves. And then I have my pages that have all the books listed on them. This includes books that are on the Nook and on our Kindle. There are 591. Some of them I have read, and I have to color in that I read them, because what I'm doing is I have a color for each year, and I'm coloring it if I've read that book, just, coloring over the blurb. But what I do is I do Siri and ask them to pick a number between 1 and 591. And the last one they picked was on the Nook. So I am now reading Caraval on the Nook. I read it before about 6 years ago, and I think I gave it 4 stars when I read it 4 years ago, but now Amanda has the second and third one that we can read. So I'm reading it again, and it's actually pretty good. I was reading it quite a bit this morning.
I had Siri pick mine, and the last one they picked, I was really kind of ambivalent about. It was an older, like, I think 2009 book, but it wasn't, one of the bright new shiny ones that we had just gotten. And the cover didn't really send me. And it turns out it was a good 4.5-star read. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, and I saw that somebody mentioned that YouTube channels are doing their best of 2023, and I've seen them doing, these are the best indie ones, and these are the best mysteries, and these are my 5 that I think should get more hype, type of thing. And there's so many, and I just keep writing down ideas of all the books that I want to read.
Regina is reading Fourth Wing now. She loves it. She hopes they make a movie of it. Kim said she said the same thing. April says she's pretty sure Amazon Prime has picked it up for a series.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Susan says she just read The Marriage Portrait, a great book.
Okay. I'm making notes of all these.
Kim just also finished Wayward, which she said was great. I love that book. Such a pretty cover.
That book.
Judy says she wishes she was as organized as we were. I am only as organized as I am this year because we have so many books. And I just had to corral it to something that I could handle.
Right.
And actually read the books.
That's the thing, is not getting sidetracked by the bright, shiny new things, and actually going through and reading the books that we already have, which, as I said, are numerous. So that, and between the two of us and sister number 3, we have a tendency to buy the bright, shiny new ones. So they're on the list.
Right.
So that when their number comes up, we get to read them. But this way, it's not just reading all the books that we gave each other for Book Fent. We're mixing in some of the older ones as well.
Yeah. Angela says 3,000 Years of Longing is an excellent movie that she thinks we might enjoy. Says Gilda Swinton, but I'm assuming it's Tilda. And Idris Elba are great. Marianne says Judy collecting TBRs and journaling about books is another hobby, like knitting and collecting patterns is 2 hobbies. And it absolutely truly is, because I have so many journals going right now that I could spend my entire day just catching up in my journals.
Yep. It's true. Oh, and then we updated our phones and, did the nightly update on the phones, and now they have a journaling thing on the phone. And then
now I have to do that.
I have to do that too.
Debbie says she enjoyed Wayward, but the misogynistic asshole were difficult to read sometimes. Woman Power. That was one of the books that I kind of wanted to throw.
Yep.
Also, the one that Siri just picked for me, it's the Physic Book of Deliverance Dane. And it's a dual timeline, but it goes back to the witch trials of Salem. And it just makes you see them in a totally different way, where we kind of romanticize Salem. When this book points out in particular that Salem was killing women for thinking differently necessarily than the Puritanism of the church. So, yeah, rage.
Okay, on that note, Alex Harrow, who is the author of The 10,000 Doors of January and a couple of other books, put up her books and the feelings behind them. And she has The Once and Future Witches, which was published in 2020. It's about suffragettes who are witches. There are emotions about siblings, gendered magic, libraries, and it's what happens when you, a woman, experience the howling fury of being a woman in the 2010s and grapple with the bitter failures and betrayals of the women's movements that came before us. The dominant vibe is so mad. I'm like, this is so true, but it is such a good book. So if you have not read The Once and Future Witches, you should definitely read it because it is a wonderful, wonderful book. But it gets across some of the feelings that I have.
Yes. Jess says part of her problem is that she has a pretty narrow genre that she likes. Pretty much how-to, mysteries, psychological thrillers, and historical characters.
Well, The Once and Future Witches is about 3 women in the 20s. So historical characters. There you go.
Deb says she just got The Once and Future Witches from the library, and she's going to make sure she has soft things to throw near her. You're going to need them.
Also, something to kick. Because I find that kicking things really makes me feel better sometimes. So we get boxes from Amazon, and I periodically kick them. So that's a good thing to have. But yeah. Okay. It is after 1:00 now. We have got to get going because this, again, has gone by very, very quickly. These Friday ones go by super, super fast. But we have to get going because we have 2 dogs that are sitting, waiting very patiently to get fed. And we have to feed them and check on the mother and that kind of thing. So also, we now have an afternoon of stitching ahead of us. This is our prize ahead of time because we have to shovel the walks at like 5:00 this afternoon when the snow stops. So we have a full day tomorrow so that we have to get the shoveling done today. So we get stitch in the afternoon and then go out and shovel. But somebody has a little glue book.
Yolanda says she's starting a glue book for all her little notes, cards, and pictures from the grandkids have given her. I think that's a great idea.
I do too. I love that idea.
April says happy Friday and weekend, everyone. And people are signing off.
There is a little bug flying around. Okay.
You would think it would be dead by now because it's so cold.
I know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming and joining us.
Yes, thank you,
our
everybody.
lunchtime chats. We look forward to chatting with you guys on Fridays. So even if we are, 15 minutes before we start looking at each other saying, what are we talking about this weekend?
We've been a little more than 15 minutes.
No, today we were better. There have been times where we're setting it up and we're like, okay, what are we talking about? But we hope you guys have a great, wonderful weekend.
Go forth and create.
And we will see you on Tuesday.
Yes.
With our regularly scheduled podcast.
Right.
So stay safe, stay warm, and...
Yeah, everybody stay warm. I think everybody's pretty cold right now.
Yeah.
So
enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Bye.